welcome back to Black Girls Speak Up podcast. We are here for another episode. And as promised, I'm back with my girl, Tatiana.
Yay!
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me yet again. I appreciate it. Today's episode, I'm going to try not to be too deep, but unfortunately, this is a very deep topic. So, yeah, here we go. We're just going to dive right in. You know, because we've been friends for umpteen years. As the youngest of six, I have come face to face with mortality more oftentimes than I'd like to have experienced. But that is the reality. So I have had this thought for some years now, and I feel like it's a conversation that we don't talk about. Well, first of all, we don't talk about death very often. Like, it's not like a common discussion where we can really dive into it and like talk about your feelings about it, talk about like preparing for it. There's so much taboo around talking about it.
Right.
And so here we are, because I feel like it's something that we could really get into. And I know that I've talked to you about it, and you're like, girl, you're not going nowhere. You got so much to complete. And I'm like, girl, but like, reality is like, I don't know my time, right?
Right.
And so, again, as the youngest of six, I've had to deal with this. And so I'm going to try not to, I hope I don't cry in this episode, but baby, I only did a light foundation today, so I can be prepared if it happens. Just being real. Okay, so today we want to discuss mortality from a more intimate place, because I feel like in general, when we see it on the big screen, we see it in media, it's kind of broad stroked, or even like in Disney growing up. The first experience I remember of seeing death was probably Lion King. Like, as a child, it's a cartoon, it's a movie, and you don't really take in what that means. But literally, Simba lost his father.
I remember. I think I teared up a little bit.
I did as a kid. I did. But even then, it doesn't feel as personable. It's like, it's just there. It happens, and you see it in that style. But
they bring you back around because it has a happy ending.
Yes.
It has a family, and so it almost is like, and then like they show Mufasa as the cloud rolling over, so he gets to talk to him again, and you're like, oh, it's okay,
it's fine,
happy dance.
It's like, okay, I understand, like that. It's beautiful. Every experience that I had prior to my siblings was like, it's there. And I feel like even when I lost my grandparents on my mom's side, I was still very young when it happened, so I still didn't quite understand it. It did not hit me as hard. But again, you fast forward and it's like, oh, this is what that means. So I really wanted to dive into that. And I'm sorry if I did not give a trigger. I'll make sure I put a trigger warning at the beginning of this, because I'm sorry. That's what we're talking about today.
It is what it is. I mean, I think I experienced it a little earlier than you. I was 9 when my aunt died. So, and I was close to her. And I remember the conversation of like, oh, I'm about to go to 5th grade, and are you going to come to my graduation? And she's like, absolutely. Like, I wouldn't miss it. I'm so proud of you, because at that time in my life, I'm a 5th grade. I'm a big dog. Like, I'm going to middle school now. So, and I was excited to share that with her. And then for, to get the call that, she got in a really bad car accident, actually on my uncle's birthday, which sucked.
Wow.
I was a drunk driver, and she didn't make it. And so, to get that call where we're all, because in the summer times we all get together and all the parents would come and pick up all the kids from grandparents' house, and get that call, and then to hear my grandma start screaming and crying. Everybody's waking up and trying to figure out what happened, because it's in the middle of the night, and it's like they called my cousins in first because it was Liz Brittany's mom.
Yeah.
So they come running out the room like my mom's dead, and I'm like, what? And I could not cope with it for like the longest. Like I was like, no,
there's no way.
Like to the point where like I'm at the funeral and like my mom like sat me down, because I was like, I know she's not dead. Like she has to get out. Like, why are you locking her in there? Let's go. Like I tried to get up to like open, the casket, because I'm like, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't,
You couldn't fathom that this person is gone forever.
I'm not gonna talk to them anymore.
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard. Yeah. So like after that, it was just like, oh, so people die. It's not like, it's no happy dance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That rolling sky where you're like, it all has a happy ending. Like you don't get to experience that. Like, in reality. And
then just being young, because I didn't, you go to church, but I didn't have like my own grounding of like knowing what the transition and that just that whole thing. I was just like, well, what now? Well, how you know what I mean? What do I do now?
Yeah. And
so
I can imagine, and I can tell that even because of your age, the impact felt monstrous. It felt like so much bigger, because it's like you don't have the grounding, like the spiritual grounding yet to be like, okay, I understand what this means. And you just saw this person. Talk to this person, and you have all of these forward thoughts that this is what's gonna happen next. Like we're gonna do this, and you're gonna come and do this with me, and so to miss that opportunity, you're like, what?
Yeah.
The impact is so much greater, and for me, because I did not have such a huge impact, it did not impact me as much as like my sisters. When my grandparents passed, my grandfather was like 99.
Right.
So it was like he lived.
Yeah, he had a good life.
He had a good life. My grandmother, I can't remember exactly how, but she was like 80s or something. Had long lives, so it did not seem abnormal for them to pass. And there was no like hurt. There wasn't like, oh my God, did we all go to the funeral? We had that experience? Of course.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until, and the reason why we're having this conversation is when it seems like it's somebody that passes so young,
and like I am in the same space with you. We are here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so to bring it to the time that we're in now, it's like when Eric and Jamela, when they first passed, because they passed a year and a half after each other, which was crazy. I still, like, to this day, I'm just like, how did that even happen? It was a lot. So when Eric passed, he was in his 40s. So it was like,
he wasn't like old 40s.
He wasn't.
I mean, not that 40s.
Not that 40s. It wasn't like he was in his late 40s.
Yeah, he was in late 40s.
It was like he's in his 40s-ish. And it's like maybe early 50s. I don't know. At that point, he's probably late 40s. But it's still like, whoa. Then you have Jamela, who was diagnosed at 36.
Yeah.
Died at 37.
It was so fast. Like, I didn't even get to wrap my brain about it.
You had no time to process.
It was like, wait, okay, you got diagnosed. Okay, let's try to work. Oh,
and
no, there's
fighting.
no.
Like, and I mean,
fighting.
So every possible thing she could do, she did. She did. The double mastectomy, she had chemo, radiation, all the things. And it was just so aggressive. So it's like, she did all the things that they say you're supposed to do, right?
Right. And in your mind, you're like, okay, she's gonna be fine because
her
this is
spirit
what
was like,
you do.
Yes. This is what you do to get over this. So, the aftermath is what really got me. Because they were so young.
Yeah.
In my mind, they're so young.
Still in their 30s.
Still in their 30s. And so then I think the second one, when Mandy passed, that's what really took
got me. That one.
That's when I really started to question my mortality.
And I felt that, and you hadn't even said it to me yet. We were on the phone, and you were like, you got quiet, and I said, Jasmine, you're not gonna die.
I'm gonna cry. I know I am gonna cry.
I felt it. I don't know. Like, the Lord just put that on my heart to let you know that, because I could feel it. I was like, she feels like she's next. And
woo, it was
heavy on you. It really was. I could see it weighing on you.
Yes.
Because it was getting younger and younger. It was just like,
girl, I was like, 2 of my siblings didn't even hit 40.
Yeah.
What?
And you like, here I am reaching mid-30s. What is happening?
I am 35. I am 35. And so after Mandy passed, that was just like, I was in my early 30s, and I was just like, okay. Like,
let me get my house in order. Like, what's happening?
Let me go get all the tests. Let me make sure I'm good.
Yeah.
Health-wise, because in this particular scenario, these were like health things that came up. It wasn't like an accident. It wasn't like, and I know like the accidents can still happen, but health-wise, these are health things that came up. And I'm like, bruh,
I can at least try to prevent it somewhat.
And so it really took me out of there. So, and I knew you felt it. I was like, y'all, I'm losing myself in this.
Yeah. Because
I'm having a train of thought that is not positive at all.
Right.
It's not positive. And I don't know how to deal with this without speaking to my friends and be like, listen, this is what I'm thinking, and I know it's not good. I know I shouldn't think this. I know I should not have the thought that I'm next, because you have my 2 other sisters who are still here, still very present, love them down. They're in their, looking good, mind you. They're in their 50s.
Yeah.
So they've passed this particular age point that we're like talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, as I get older, I'm trucking onto these years, and I'm just like, I turned 36 this year. So it brings, as we hit the birthdays of those siblings, it's like they would have been this age, and now I'm getting closer to the age they were when they passed. It just puts you in a state of mind that is not healthy. And I know that. So this is a good question. What was something that no one told you about losing people?
I think something that I don't feel someone told me about losing people was that the grief has like waves. There's like, sometimes they're good, and it's like, I get it, I understand, I'm good.
Yeah.
But then there are some days where that thing hits you and you are just like, I'm not okay.
Yes.
And I can't even tell you why I'm not okay today. I'm just not okay with their passing today. Today, I'm not okay. And like there are moments now where I'll even like, think of my grandmother or my aunt, or even like, my grandfather just passed yesterday.
What?
I know, wild. That actually just happened yesterday.
What?
So it was like,
oh my gosh.
It's the process of you trying to go, okay. And like in the right there in the moment where that you're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
They passed. but it's the like time where you like by yourself. And they gotta process, and now you a crying mess. Now you gotta pull yourself together because it's almost 3:00. I gotta pick up my kids. I got, life still have to life because I can't stop life because I'm hurting. And, which is the other thing. It's like trying to process while being present.
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, you can just recluse and you can stay recluse
and it'd be fine
and it's okay. Everybody's gonna hold you and say it's okay and help you get back to where you need to be and build back up your confidence and your mental health. But as an adult, life don't stop lifing. They are not gonna look at your lights and go, oh well,
she's grieving,
so we gonna let her pass this month.
No.
And your job ain't gonna just give you money because
it's like they may give you some bereavement time, but that don't mean it's gonna be forever.
And then if you're an entrepreneur,
you don't got nothing.
I gotta still go out here and smile in your face so that I can get you to give me business, all while I'm trying to process.
Yes.
I just lost somebody that I really, really cared about.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
It's that. That's the one.
Yeah.
That is the biggest one. You go through your ways and stuff, but the processing while present.
That girl, yeah. I feel like the ways I was definitely going to say that because I was not aware that, or at least I had not experienced it where I felt the waves.
Yeah, because you're like, when you're over it, you think you're over it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But then when you all of a sudden, because like with my sisters, I talk to them all the time. So it was like that moment when you're ready to hey.
Got the number still in your phone.
I literally do. I literally have.
I do too, actually.
I have all of their numbers.
Erase any numbers.
I have everybody's number. Sometimes I feel like a couple years after I would still message
it's a part of the process.
It's part of the process,
But
I feel like people really did not express that. One thing that I do want to go back to something you said earlier, as far as the age when you were younger, when your aunt passed, that is something having to navigate that space with Arden now.
Yeah.
Oh, and she is 5. So
she understands, and they were so present in her life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's different when it's somebody
that's very different. Yeah.
You don't. Yes, you feel bad, and yes, you're gonna be sad that they're no longer here for the times that you did get to spend with them.
Yes.
But if they weren't super close, you have a little bit more ease of navigating the process. But when it's somebody that you close to
all the time,
it's to try to help them get through that. It's tough because you're also trying to get through it.
Yeah.
What, you know what I mean? So how was that for you? Cause I haven't had to do that with my kid. I don't know how my mom, dealt with that, because she was also dealing with losing her only sister.
Yeah.
It was her, and then she had 2 brothers. So, that was her best friend. You know what I mean? So trying to process that, all while trying to process, your
child's grief, it's very different. Very, very, very different. I initially, oh my gosh, those first it was Mandy that we had to process with her, and that was hard. I remember I have a video of her holding Mandy's photo because she missed her. That was her TT. Her other they have a name with the TT, but that was TT.
Oh, see, yep. Your kids got a TT. My kids there's one of the aunts that is just TT, and everybody else is TT this, TT that, TT
yes.
that. Yeah.
And so for her to lose TT was already hard. I remember in the hospital the night that she passed, it was several of us in the space with her, in the hospital. You were there. Some of my other friends were there, and everybody started crying. because she had actually passed, and while we were in the hospital.
Yeah.
And like they officially called it. And then when everybody started crying, Arden screamed and started crying. And I was just like, that was the initial like shock of it all. And then days after, you started to feel how she was just responding to it. Like she missed her. But then when my mom passed,
that was really hard because she been there since
birth.
Jump. Yeah.
Like there was what was that? Up until 3 years old, my mom was watching her when I would be at work. My mom was retired, so it wasn't like I had to take her to a daycare at that time. For the first 3 years of her life, my mom was watching her. So,
and then after that, she lived with y'all.
And she lived with us for part of that time. So it was like, she was always there. And I remember the first thing that Arden said when I was making the like announcement flyer in my phone, and she was like, why do you have a photo of Granny? And I was explaining to her that I was making the flyer for, you know, her service and for blah, blah, blah. And she was like, because she's not here anymore. And I was like, yeah. And she started crying. And I was just like,
I can't even hold it together either.
I can't, listen, I'm barely holding it together.
Yeah.
And now she's crying. And now I'm like, I have to comfort her while I'm like barely comfort myself. Like
because it's really only a year's time.
It was January, December.
Yeah, it was like we were just starting to get back to a normal motion.
Yeah.
And then I'm hit again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was nobody explains that to you. And losing people so close to each other, you don't even have time to like adjust to the first wave.
Yeah.
Then you're hit with it again. And I really had no sense of like, these waves are coming simultaneously. I'm grieving too many people at one time.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
It's like every season of the year, it's like, oh dang. Like, so it's like around Thanksgiving, Christmas is Mom, and around New Year's is Mandy, and then in the summertime, it's fall time, it's Mandy, and then it's Jamila, and then it's like.
And what's crazy, the years with Jamila passed, like December, January, count me out, because Jamila passed in December.
Yeah.
Right around Christmas. My mom passed. No, Jamila passed after Christmas.
Yeah.
My mom passed before Christmas.
Yeah.
And Mandy passed the first week of January.
It's like,
count me out.
It's like, and those are like supposed to be like the holidays that everybody's like, ooh, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's.
Like, now last year was probably the most subdued year ever.
Yeah.
That December, January, I was just like, I really don't have to do anything. I'm glad I ended up coming to y'all church for New Year's Eve, but baby, I could have been at the house. I really could have.
But the thing is, you know, how do you navigate like now not trying to make those months like gloomy, because you still have family and you still have Arden, and you know, you don't want to take away from her like joy of, I'm out of school for 2 weeks, you know, this is the time that we usually do whatever. Like, how do you navigate all that?
I think like last year, like we have changed what we do for Thanksgiving, because in the past it would be at like our house, or when I was growing up we would be at my grandparents' house. So that's definitely changed. Like last year we ended up going on a road trip for Thanksgiving.
That's kind of cool.
Which was nice, not to have to worry about, we're cooking everything, we're doing it, we're hosting. But then as far as for Christmas, I really I remain focused on her and the fact that she is such a positive little kid that I don't want her to focus on the things. In the back of my mind, the thoughts are very much there, like, this will never be the same. This time of year will never be the same, because we used to do this, what's the little Secret Santa. We used to do that type of stuff. And so like this year, what we did, we invited my cousins came over, some of my sister's friends came over, and we did the white elephant game. Yeah. So it's like we're just finding other ways. We have to include other people because our numbers have dwindled. Yeah. So it's like we have to bring in other people from other, like our friends and other family members to make the numbers seem bigger, because our numbers as our immediate family has dwindled so much that it's not the same, because you're talking about
more than half.
Like, even you counting my mom in there, like it's more than half. Yeah. So we have to find other ways to make that time special, and often it just includes bringing more people in. We can't try to do it ourselves. Like, we can't be at the house by ourselves. We can't decide, oh yeah, it's Christmas, so we're not gonna do anything, because that doesn't help. I make sure I get the tree be stacked. Like, I gotta fill it up with something, so that she has stuff and she feels the presence and the season, the reason for the season and all that. She has to feel it. I just have to like take a moment. I still go, when all them people will be out there, I still go sit. I take a moment. I have like a little quiet time. Within those few days, within those, especially those 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's and all of that, I still have the quiet time because I need it, because so much did happen in those days. But I have to ask, what's the thought process that you have in losing people at various stages of their life? Is the experience different based on the age, family, and or friend?
I think I would have like before said that age mattered, but like, you know, like if they're older, it's like, you know what, they lived a good life. Yeah. But I was a mess when my grandparents died. Like my grandma and my grandfather in Gainesville, like it just tore me up. Yeah. And it's not that I didn't know, like, you know, once she went into a coma, like, you know, I got it. Yeah. But it was the reality of, man, I'm not going to get to let her. She only met Braylon and Bryce. She's never going to meet Bailey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bailey will never know her and how great she was and where I get all these recipes from, and that, you know, like that used to be our little hub of going. And then to watch my grandfather for like 5 years be without her, and like I was like, dang, that's what it's like to not have your, like, you know what I mean?
Your person, yeah.
Woo, I said I wasn't gonna cry, but and to hear him be like, he was tired, like he just kind of was.
Start saying they're tired. Woo.
Like I knew I got it. I get it. Yeah. But that selfish part of you that just is so connected to them being there, and what you shared with them was just like, I'm not ready. Like I'm not ready to let go. I want you here, just for me, if nobody else, you know. So I would have said age, but I think it's really relationship plays the biggest part. Because it doesn't matter how old or young they are, but if there's a relationship there, if you really built something with that person, and the revelation of I'm not gonna be able to experience that relationship anymore, that just, it's really, really hard.
Oh, for sure.
It's hard.
For sure.
I was trying. So my grandfather passed in 2020 during the COVID era. So, you know, we weren't even allowed to go into the hospital to connect with him. And it was getting around his birthday, and I really wanted to do something nice. So I had bought one of those electronic picture frames, so that, and I had all my cousins send me pictures of them with their kids, because I wanted him to have something to know, hey, like, I know we can't get there, and I know you don't get to see us like you used to when we were kids, because, those are some of the best times for grandparents when they get to get all their grandkids together.
Yes.
And as you grow up and now you got your own kids and you can't really go back to, home like you used to, I knew that was a big thing because you don't have my grandma now and you don't have us there anymore to like really make the house have noise and personality. So I wanted him to have something and I couldn't get it there in time. And I won't get rid of it. Like, I just have it in my closet. It just, every time I look at it, I'm just like, dang, I feel bad. But I do remember getting, having some of those moments before he passed, like going to visit. He got honored for something and he made it to the event. And, some of the cousins, we all came in town and just kind of was there.
Absolutely.
He was so happy. We didn't even do anything, really. We were just there sitting.
Those memories.
Oh my gosh, that's the stuff. That's the parts that you just kind of, I think I hold on to more so than the sad stuff, because it'll just take you down the rabbit hole.
Oh, the rabbit hole go.
Rabbit hole is real.
It is. Woo. It is. Oh my God.
What would you say?
So I feel like part of it can be age, but it's definitely the relationship. Yeah. And I say that because, like, even for me, losing my brother, who we were 19 years apart,
right,
versus losing Jamela, Mandy, and my mom, like, it was drastically different. From the mourning process was drastically different for me because it was so different. It was so different because the relationship was different. I didn't officially technically meet my brother until I was 18.
Right.
Because of his life and the things that he did, it was just, he was never around when I was growing up. And so when I finally met him at 18, it was just like, okay, that's cool.
And it's like you had a little relationship, like, but it wasn't like...
It wasn't like with Jamela and Mandy as my sisters. Like, we hung out all the time. We did all the things together. So I definitely agree with you with the relationship aspect of it. I think it just adds a extra little if it's like they're young. It adds a little something more because you feel like, okay, man, what like you were,
what happened? I thought
we had
more time.
I thought we had more time, and I am eternally grateful for the memories that I did share with my sisters, because that, like you said, that will take me through time.
Yeah.
But I also know, like, even with Jamela, she didn't get to meet Artie. She didn't get to like
that stuff sucks, man.
That's like, and she was such, even, when I was stepmama, she was there and she was at forefront. She was an auntie. Like, she loved that aspect of it. And so it kind of plays a part in my head, like, because my child has some similar tendencies to her.
Very bubbly,
very much life. I'm like, if they would have met,
oh my gosh, it would have been so, that might have been TT. She might have edged her out.
She might have been TT.
She might have edged.
She might have been TT. But it's like they never got to experience that. But it's like, it is what it is. I think it makes me think more about how I cherish those memories. Like, truly. Truly, it really does. Girl, how, and this kind of takes us back to the initial start of this conversation about mortality. Like, how has it even come up as a thought for you? Because, like, you were at Jamela's service, you were at all of their services.
I didn't make mom's. I don't think I made your mom's service because I was already out of town when everything happened. So I didn't make it to her actual service.
Really?
I was at the other stuff. I wasn't at the actual service.
That's crazy. Okay.
I know, because I'm just always like...
You're always there.
I am always there.
But yes, so you were at everybody else's service. And I remember, and this will bring me to a question, but I remember at, I think it was Mandy's service, you were standing up there singing, and I remember looking at you bawling, and I immediately started bawling.
I did. I was trying not to, and I was like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah, no, I like because we were so close. Like, you were there through so many years. We have known each other since.
Yeah, those were they are my sisters.
Yes,
her sisters are my sisters.
We have known each other since I was getting ready to go to high school.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I was in 8th grade. So that's perspective of time. So you've known them for umpteen years. So because of seeing that process and their age, and just riding this wave with me through time, have you, or do you have a specific perspective on your own mortality and like how you look at things? Because you know how I'm like,
I know. So I think for me, like I know that there have been so many people that I've, been connected to that have passed away young. I mean, just I've had so many classmates, like, genuine friends that I'm like, they didn't make it to 40. They didn't make it to 35. Yeah. Some of them didn't even make it to 20. And it's like, what? How, like, it really makes you stop and think about, one, okay, I need to take better care of myself. But two, do I have things in order if I was not to be here? Because I do have kids, I do have a family, I do have a business, I do have, like debt that I would never want to unload on somebody. So what steps have I put in place for that? It made me go back and go, okay, maybe I should have insurance, or maybe I should,
Facts.
You know what I mean? Start like making sure there's like a savings over here,
and
this.
Prepared.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, people are dying that has never been dead. When people say that.
Dying that have never been dead.
That's what they say.
It's crazy.
It tickled me, so
it did.
but no, like, seriously, like, people are leaving here younger than when you young, you always think you die when you old, like,
yeah, or
older people. Even if it's something bad, it's always older people.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are now in your 30s, it's like, wait, it's people younger than me, it's people older than me, it's people with me.
Yes.
And I should probably
get some things in order.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So it did definitely change my perspective in that aspect, where I was like, okay, I gotta change some things, change how I'm thinking about things, and not just act in present day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, the preparation, that's why I feel like it's necessary to have this conversation, because there's a part of it that is just about preparing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, talk about how you feel about grieving, about death for yourself.
Yeah.
Preparing yourself, your family, being prepared in general. Like, let me set up that life insurance policy. Let me do that, because I've seen where not having that stuff in order falls back on the family.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's actually very stressful when you don't have that stuff in order for your family after you're gone. And so it's like, prepare everybody, but like, even preparing your kids, like, that's something
like, you don't really want to have the conversation. Like, it was very weird, maybe about 10 years ago, when my dad called me and was like, hey, I need all your information. And I'm like, for what? He was like, because I might not, like I need to have my beneficiary things in order just in case. And I was like, why are we having, in your mind, I'm like,
why are we having this conversation?
You're fine. But he's preparing, and it, now understanding 10 years later, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're talking about. Like I'm like making sure I know, and I'm putting my husband as beneficiary or my kids on these certain things because I want them to be taken care of. Absolutely. If unfortunately something was to happen to me. So
for sure. I remember the conversation with my dad, and I was like,
we're doing this.
Okay. It's like, this house that I'm staying in, like, it's paid off. Like, do you want to take over it? Do you want me to do this or do that? And I was like, okay.
Because then you realize, I
would be the next in line. Okay. But even now, it's like, even because at this age, I'm like, I've seen that I gotta actually have some type of conversation with my child. Do I want to have it because she's 5? Absolutely not. I don't. I hope I never have to have this conversation, and I just have the stuff set up so that somebody has to explain it to her when she's much older. That's my hope and my prayer. But it's like, I saw when my sister passed, my nephew, that had to be explained to them about she is gone, and then watching them go through the grieving process after that, that
wasn't good.
It was hard.
After the first, when in the hospital that day when she did pass, and kids are because they're in their preteen teen stage, so it was very, that's when they're kind of more intrusive with their emotions. And so watching both of them, it was kind of I know what's going on, but it was almost like they just kind of was numb.
Initially, they were very numb. I think once, because y'all probably did, you weren't in the room. When we went in the room, I wish they did not have to see her like that, but they did go in the room and saw her, and they broke down. And I
couldn't handle it. I purposely was like, I can't.
It was hard. So in this process, what for you in the different times, because literally you just had somebody pass yesterday, Tatiana. If you would have canceled on me, I would have been like, okay, I understand.
I understand. I checked on my siblings. Everybody's okay, and I know it's a right now thing. It's okay, I get it. It happened. Yeah. And it doesn't really hit you until a little bit later when you're
that actually happened. Especially when you start preparing for services and
the travel, and now I gotta explain. So
So what has, not just right in this moment, but over the years, what has grieving looked like for you?
Over the years, I would say grieving has looked like it's quiet time, like you said. There are moments where I'm in the room, but I'm not, because I just kind of I won't say it's a zone out, but it probably looks like zoning out on the outside, but I really just had to kind of go into myself, take that moment and be like, hey, it is sad that they're not here, but you still have to live, you know what I mean? So getting those reasons to live, to continue to move on. I know they wouldn't have wanted me to just crumble right here.
Correct.
That's what you want to do.
Correct.
Because I just don't even want to do this without you.
Absolutely
I don't want
not.
to do this.
Absolutely not.
But trying to find that extra will. So it definitely looked like quiet time. It looks like I like to take drives because my car is my solace for me. And then my friends.
That right up. I feel like for me, the grieving process has definitely looked like that, taking some time, but I learned with each time, I learned the grieving process in a more deeper way.
Yeah.
And so I started leaning more and more into my friends because I realized that I can't do this by myself. Mm-hmm. I can't sit within myself for too long, because then that's when I start thinking about like, oh, like I'm gonna die. Like it's so many things. So I definitely, that's what it looked like for me. Like leaning into my friends more and more and more, because I can't sit up here and just say, yeah, I'm fine, because today I might be fine, but when that wave hits, I need somebody to lean into. I literally told Tatiana, this was last year, I was like, if I call you, just know I'm gonna call you a lot. Because especially with us over the years, when we've gone through those times where we weren't talking all the time, I was like, I know this might seem, she was like, girl, no, it's fine. I was like,
call me.
Good.
We don't even call, we FaceTime.
FaceTime. I don't care what you're doing.
Don't matter what we look like. I literally be like, girl, I ain't even got my wig on. I ain't did my hair just sticking out, braided down, don't matter.
I'm gonna call you. Like it really helps. It really helps. There's so much more we could talk about when it comes to this topic, but I really want, like, what is a recommendation that you have for people that are going through the grieving process, and they're on that healing journey and just trying to like figure it out? Like, what do you have any recommendations for people?
I think my biggest recommendation is to not try to go it alone. Receive the help. Like, receive those that are looking to just love on you, to encourage you, to be in your corner, because you might not think you need it, but you do.
Yeah,
you do. So I think that's my biggest recommendation is don't try to walk it alone.
That's good. I would say be true to how you're feeling in the moment. Don't try, because I know, especially with, you have to keep going and keep living and keep doing that, but we also need to be very present with the fact of how you're feeling in that moment. When you're don't fight it.
Not okay.
You're not okay. Like, don't try to like, oh, I'm okay, when you're genuinely not. Don't try to skip past the grieving process. That's why there's all the stages that there are in grief, because it's necessary to go through those stages. And whenever you try to skip a stage or like bypass it in any way, it will come back to bite you. Like, it will, and you'll feel it in some way. So genuinely go through the stages of grief, because I know for firsthand, when I've tried to skip the steps, or when I didn't even understand that I was grieving and what grief was in the beginning, the first time I really experienced it, I tried to skip past like some of those steps.
Try to jump back in the regular day.
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm okay. And I wasn't. And I remember looking back like later, and I was like, oh, I was going through it.
You were going through it.
Because I have one specific picture, and I was like, Jasmine. I was a grown woman, and I was so skinny. Girl. I had lost so much weight. And
I remember that, and I was like, are you okay? You was like, yeah, I'm just trying to do this and that. And I was like, girl, oh, okay.
I'm thinking that I'm being healthy, but really, in all reality, I was very depressed. I did not know how to process the grief at the time. And so I felt like I was eating. But I was also working out a lot. I was also like in the gym, just as skinny as ever.
But like working out like you were about to go become some Olympian.
Yeah.
You just...
Yeah. But it was like I thought I was processing things, but I was really just keeping myself busy.
Yeah, so that you don't have to process.
Yeah. And now that I can look back on it and be like, that's what that was. Yeah. But at the time, I had no clue. So really go through the process and don't try to bypass any other steps, because it will inevitably affect you at some point.
Gosh.
At some point.
There's so much to this, like, mortality too, because then there's like, I mean, this is another topic for a different day. Like, you got your mortality of like other things, like relationships.
Oh, when losing other stuff. Oh yeah, grief.
Woo, it will tear you up.
Yes, we can definitely have another topic, another discussion on that, because that's a whole other thing. Like, grieving other things in life outside of grieving people or facing the grief for yourself. Like, it's so many.
Still death.
It's still
hurting.
Yes. Yeah. So we don't, at some point, might bring a couple other part two. But this was really good, and I know we can. There's so many things that we can really dive into when it comes to mortality and loss, and but I really just wanted to touch on this because this is something that's been heavy on me for years. But now that I'm back in podcasting and the podcast formats, I wanted to discuss it because I've been like, when I tell you, trying to get those negative thoughts out of my head, I really have, because I'm at that age where it's like, I'll be 36 this year.
You gotta silence your Bruno.
I have to.
If you got kids, you know what that is.
You really do. And so, that's gonna be that. We cried. We both shed a tear.
Yeah.
We will see y'all in the next episode of Black Girls Speak Up podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me know if you shed a tear. Let me know. All right, y'all. Bye.